A fit person would not date a fat slob. Do you have any idea how many like hot men and women I hooked up with when I was 290 pounds? It's literally like I know everyone wants to think well, actually it's like the star sign that prevents me from having sex with no, you literally just make someone laugh and you get away with anything. It's crazy. You're almost 300 pounds. I was 290 when I started the channel. Must be so easy having a personality. Yeah, you know what? You know what? Everyone wants to write it off. You know what? Having a good personality is harder than being in shape. And you know what? That's backed by evidence. Because I know that thermodynamically, basically everyone can get in shape. Obviously, there are exceptions. But for the most part, yeah. But the way I've seen it out in the real world, a lot of you motherfuckers just cannot develop a good personality. Not just you, everyone. That's the tough part, right? You know, I don't have to walk very far when I'm walking around town to find someone who's in shape. But I bet you if I went, you know, person to person talking to them, I might be a little while before I find someone with a good personality. And I don't just mean nice, I mean interesting too. Apparently that's the tough part. All we know is charge we phone, and some of you people don't even know that. Oh yeah, I'm out. I can be kind but not interesting, lol. You don't have to be pathetic. You should never talk down on your personality. Because that's the guarantee. That's the death knell right there. You got a problem with your personality, fine. You know, I guess no one's perfect. Everyone does. Everyone wishes they were a little more this or that. I could be a better listener. But if you're talking down on yourself, it pretty much guarantees failure there, right? Your personality is you. You have to uplift yourself. This is the consequence of decades of cultural normalization of self-deprecating humor, where for so long, the way you come across as relatable to others is by performatively, insincerely talking down on yourself, and you do it so much that eventually you start to believe it. That shit needs to go, okay? I would rather performative self-aggrandization or self, you know, bolster yourself, whatever. Be confident. This is one of the reasons why girls love their gay best friend and why queer people in general are more aggrandization. Thank you. Why queer people in general tend to be more boisterous, okay? Because in a society, not to joker myself here, but in a society where there's a social cultural bias against your demographic, there's a greater incentive to practice self-love. You know, you get like the queer people together. And I mean, by the way, I mean older queer. Because now with the internet, now the homosexuals are also doing the self-deprecating shit. What the fuck is wrong with you? You're a goddamn transgender woman. What are you doing being performatively self-deprecating? Isn't life hard enough? It's pathetic. This is like internet brainworm shit, man. Again, you talk to the older gays, and they'll talk themselves up every other sentence. Honestly, it's a little annoying. Again, grow up near WeHo. But like, you have to have a bit of an ego. You have to buff yourself up a little bit. Self-deprecation in service of a lack of confidence is different from confidently doing it for humor. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm tired of people doing it confidently for humor. I'm tired of that. Frankly, you people just don't know how to do it. The few times I do self-deprecating jokes, everyone knows it's a joke because I come across as so full of myself most of the time up here on stream that you know, you know where I'm coming at it from. I've set the groundwork. I've laid the foundation, right? I can make these jokes, people understand the tone, but I promise you, whether you think you're being funny or not, your self-deprecating jokes are making the people around you tired. They're not making you look relatable to others. The people in your friend circle are listening and they're going, is that like a real cry for help or not? Okay, can I like add on to the joke by adding to the denigration on them? Or are they like soft pitching an actual insecurity and I have to like walk like, and I have to like soothe them, and then they sue and it's a 50-50, and now they soothe you when you were being sincerely like joking about it, and now you're like, no, I'm kidding, ha ha ha, and no one feels good. Or the opposite happens and you're softballing an actual insecurity and they pile onto it and you don't say anything because you're a little bitch, and then you keep that with you, and 16 years from now you'll like cry about it or something. Okay, stop. This shit's exhausting. It's exhausting to be around. It doesn't make you look more relatable. You're just baiting other people's, even if you don't think you are, you're baiting other people's like worried emotional investment in either direction. Like how some people literally refuse to take compliments. Oh my God, yeah. Learn to take compliments. If somebody compliments you, you know what you say? You know what you say? Thank you. I really appreciate it. That's it. That's it. You're done. You don't have to put any more thought into it. That's it. It's as simple as that. You don't have to argue. What if they're complimenting me to get something from me? Then thank them for the compliment, and then whether or not they get the thing they want, that's up to you. It's a separate issue. You can accept the compliment either way. Is it not self-deprecating humor in a roundabout way when you yourself do the ironic narcissism type humor? Like I always perceived it as you making fun of your own ego. Yeah, but it's like a double reverse, not self-deprecating joke, because I don't actually think I have that big of an ego. I play up having a big ego because I think that you guys better relate to a dynamic where my performative overconfidence gets played up as a streamer. That is to say, I think that it works better than if look, I'll put it this way, and trust me, this is 5 years of trial and error up here. There's not a rule book on it, okay? If you come up here and do this to these audience sizes, and you are as susceptible to criticism and scrutiny as you would be in your day-to-day life from regular normal people, like just interpersonal interactions or whatever, your ass is out. You're going to have a mental breakdown before you hit year one. 100%. Absolutely. You have to be up here with some sturdy stone balls. You just have to, I'm sorry. Or like a stone pussy. Honestly, both are fine. You can have both even. And that's not even a matter of having a big ego. It's just about understanding the dynamic. Honestly, it's a point of social it's like an exercise of social competence, right? It's not about actually thinking you're all that. It's about knowing the role that you're in relative to others. You're not having a one-on-one. You're not talking with your friends. You're a live streamer. There's an improv element. There's an entertainment element to it, right? There's a simultaneous responsibility, both from a professional standpoint and an ethical one, to entertain and to inform. A lot of the stuff I talk about, I just learn here on stream too, right? So I try to come at it from a sort of, leveled perspective, right? It's relatable. We're all here. We're in it together, but I'm still here, and I want to feel a bit of contempt to you, and I want you to feel a bit of contempt to me. I don't want you to be deferential to me. That annoys me, and I certainly am not going to be deferential to you. And that's the cycle. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's a wonderful thing. And it's phenomenal for my mental health, honestly. You go through all this negative shit in the news these days, this is a good dynamic. This is a good framework to view it through. Now, the confidence on my end is legitimate. I'm pretty boisterous in real life too, at least when I'm not distracted or tired, which I often am, whatever. But for the most part, this is a specific dynamic, right? I don't talk like this when I'm at the club, largely because I don't go to clubs. You get me. What was I talking about here? Oh yeah, so that's why I don't consider what I do with the ego joke self-deprecation. I consider it like a core component, a recognition of the dynamic. I'll say this much, when I make a joke about my ego, are there people in chat going, "Oh, come on, Vosh, don't talk down to yourself like that. I don't think you're that full of yourself. I think you're pretty level-headed." For the most part, no, because people read the tone, which I appreciate. I can't do tone indicators while speaking. And that fad went out pretty quick, huh? The tone indicators? What was I talking about? Oh yeah, don't make self-deprecating jokes. Is there any way to be able to learn how to get better at being funny? Or can it only come naturally? It comes naturally when you have the experience with it. You just need the experience. Perfect practice makes perfect. You just got to talk to people and try to maximize the elements of your personality that you think work. Think about what other people want. Every person you talk to is going to want different specific things. But people, generally speaking, right, from an interaction they're having, especially in a social setting, you're not talking to someone in the bathroom, right? For the most part, they want to be entertained. Maybe they're looking for something else, comfort in a specific situation or like relatability, whatever. For the most part, they want to be entertained. You're meeting a new person, or maybe you've met them 2 or 3 times, but you're still looking for the mutual entertainment. We're not talking about deep love and investment here. We're not looking for, opening a joint bank account. We're talking about a good time. We're talking about fun. How do you entertain other people? Certainly not by being self-deprecating. You relate to people. You have shared interests, You meet their expectations in certain core ways, but you also defy their expectations in other ways, enough to keep things interesting. You want that from them too, I bet. Or maybe you're on a lower level. Maybe you just want a girl to listen to you. I don't know. Whatever you want. But I bet you've got the sauce, okay? It's not about whether you have the sauce. It's how you present it. If you have interests, if you have things you're into, if there are things in your life that bring you joy, you have feelings about them, you can present that. You can package that. It's really just a matter of presentation. not content. People think that being funny or being charismatic are some kind of like innate trait, or you have something or you don't. That's not true. Yeah, exactly, Thana. It really is about putting on a show. But when people hear that, what they think is like, oh, it's insincere, it's performative. Oh, well, it is performative. They think it's insincere, they think it's bad, right? Oh, you're putting on a show. Oh, what? So it's like everyone's like faking it? Well, yeah, kind of, in the sense that in a social setting, people aren't usually being totally authentic. Because if you were being totally authentic with no social pressure acting on you whatsoever, what would you be doing right now? You would be like naked in your computer chair, scratching your asshole, looking at like porn on your first monitor, and your second monitor would have like a YouTube video essay. You'd be shitting and farting. Oh, no social pressure. Okay, time to like picket a scab on my leg or something. Like, what do you mean? You're always being performative when you're engaging with other people. There's always an artifice. That doesn't mean that it's fake. It's just a different context. In the same way that the way I talk to you guys isn't fake, I just recognize that as a streamer, this is a presentational context that's very distinct from the way you interact with people normally in day-to-day life. It's informed by the way I interact to other people in my day-to-day life. And when you're out at a bar or in the club or whatever else, you know, you're using the root personality, your thoughts and feelings, and you're putting it through a different framework. But that I don't even think it's like wearing a mask. I feel like I'm pretty authentic when I'm on stream. It's just a different context, a different presentation. You have a beautiful gemstone and you show it off, you know, in front of the window so it catches the light, or above the mantle where it doesn't catch the light, but it like flickers in the flame, or it's the same gem. It is a form of code switching, 100%, yeah. And you want to back and forth that. You get better at it, you get some practice talking to other people, and you begin to understand what they want, like what resonates with people. And that varies a lot, you know? And really, if you get keen on that, you get like the core of socializing, which is reading subtle cues on what other people are really saying when they say a thing. And you're thinking, normies, why can't they just say what they mean? You don't either. Because if you were just saying what you'd be meaning, you would walk up to the girl at the party and you'd say, "You've huge tits and I want to fuck you. How do I talk to you? Your earrings, your hair. I saw you over by the punch bowl. Tits. And do you like punch? That could work if you're hot. That could work, but you'd have to be really hot. You know? The Rizzler. Yeah, you don't say what you mean, okay? Everyone frames it. It's always framing. You talk to anyone, it's your framing. The love of your life, you're framing things. Your mother, you're framing things. Your children, you're framing things. You're never just doing a one-to-one thought to voice. No one does that. The English language doesn't contain the words necessary to perfectly transcribe all the information up there, okay? All forms of communication are just an imperfect facsimile for direct mind-to-mind contact. So when you bemoan the normie for not being clear with what they want, keep in mind, you're doing the same thing, okay? They might be doing it in a different way, but you're doing the same thing. You don't want the direct mind-to-mind communication anyway. Even if it was possible, which it's not, you don't want it because everyone would just sound like a mess to each other all the time. It's like when people talk, they shit talk about small talk. You know, this is like a very specific genre of autist and like 16-year-old and person who needs to get out more, where they're like, I hate small talk. What if we talked about the deep things? Yeah, sure. Go to a bar and talk about, you know, some asinine, meaningless, pseudo-intellectual bullshit, like where you think the universe came from, to a person on the other side of the counter. Oh, yeah, the girl who's looking at you and gave you a smile. You should go up to her and, like, I don't know, ask her what she feels about the meaning of life. Or, like, ask her how she feels about, like, what it says about humanity, that we've sequenced the DNA of the human species and now know what we're made of on a constitutional level. Throw that one at her, see how it goes. The reason you don't open with gay bullshit like that is because small talk is a delivery mechanism for all of the subtle communicative intricacies of what you're interested in and what you want to hear about. It's not just a social lubricant. You learn about people when you small talk. I'm not going to learn anything about you if you come at me with that gay bullshit other than that you're insufferable. You come at me with like, are you enjoying your drink? Give me 15 seconds and I can find out plenty about you. Are you playful? Are you serious? What are you interested in? What emphasis you put? Do you listen or do you just wait for your turn to speak? What topics are you more comfortable with? Do you defer to weather and outdoorsy stuff? Do you defer to more indoorsy stuff, nerdy hobbies? What's your version of small talk? It's not like small talk is just 5 topics. Small talk can be 500,000 topics, right? What do you default to? What works with you? Are you more empathetic? Do you ask questions about how the other person is doing, or do you talk about how you're doing, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. That can go perfectly fine. It's just like, what is important to you? What do you relate to? What do you engage with? And what do they do that you resonate with? It's all simple stuff. It's small talk. It's the small talk you do before you get to the big talk. And when people say they don't like small talk, what I hear is you're bad at conversations. You don't understand what they're for. You don't understand their purpose. Lol, I love him imagining the straw man in chat that he's mad at. So much fun. So speaking of lacking social graces, what you failed to recognize in me here is that I'm talking about things that I'm interested in, and I'm using the framework of engaging with chat to discuss these ideas. I'm kind of bouncing back and forth off of them. They say something, I say something. I'm not really imagining someone and getting angry at them. I'm actually just sharing my thoughts and feelings. See, that's another example of how there's not always a perfect connection between what a person seems to be saying and what the underlying meaning of their statement is, right? This is a conversational engagement, very much like sometimes I get angry at a chatter in a manner which I would consider performative. The point there isn't the anger. The point there is I am an entertainer. And I like to engage with these ideas and subjects in a format that people find engaging. And by the way, what I find engaging, right? Like I could just sit up here and just drone through every topic I have in my mind. I just remembered this other thing that I'd like to talk about. I will now talk about that thing. Why would I do this? There's an artifice, sure, but it's a transparent one. And that's the way it is with small talk too, you know? Small talk isn't this impermeable social barrier that you can't see through or anything. It's meant to be engaged with. I think people really miss the skill part of social skills and don't want to practice to make it easier to be sociable. Yeah, where did this idea come about that social skills are natural? It's literally called a skill. Like you say, people are like, well, I don't know how to talk to people. Have you tried? You imagine that being applied to literally anything else. Well, I don't know how to paint. I really want to paint, but I don't know how to paint. Have you tried painting? No, I'm too scared to. Dog, they're low stakes engagements, okay? Going to the grocery store and striking up a 2-minute conversation with the college student working at the Trader Joe's or whatever, it's low stakes, okay? Frankly, you're out $15 for canvas paints and brushes. If you fuck up with a painting, minimum 15, you go to the Trader Joe's, you can buy an apple for 89 cents. Probably less, I don't know. It's not that expensive, maybe. I wouldn't know, I don't eat apples. You go for the conversation. That's one of the main appeals of going to a bar. You talk to a person you'll likely never meet again. Yeah, it's good. You want those low-stakes social engagements so you have the opportunity to, get a little bit better at them. You gotta practice to do the things. Social anxiety sucks, but you can get over it. Yeah, yeah, for sure. And also, so many of the people who have social anxiety have literally like no counterexamples, right? Like in their head, they're like, well, if I socialize, it'll be bad because I'll f it up, and then they just never test that theory. I feel like you should look. It's not arachnophobia. You don't need to be bitten by a spider to know you find them freaky. I think you should put a bit more effort into the conversations before you decide that they're all going to go bad. And how bad will it be? Maybe you're a little awkward. Who cares? You have to know it's okay to f up a canvas. Yeah. But again, the stakes are really low. A lot of my social anxiety is the result of auditory hypersensitivity. That part isn't something you get over. All right, then talk to people in a quiet place. Bring people to museums. I don't care. Libraries are nice. Yeah, go after the library bitches.